Please note this is a virtual meeting with remote public comment. Council meetings now live streamed. To view the council meetings live, go to the WCTV NJ's YouTube here and click on the channel Township Council Meetings. The YouTube live stream will be available to view during the live council meetings. Welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of March 4th of the town.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's of the Township of Washington Township Council. Sorry for the late start. We're supposed to start at 7 p.m. We were having some technical problems with Zoom this evening. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, Electronic Message Board, WCTV, and on the Township website. Salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Sue, roll call.
1 second, sorry.
It's okay.
Councilman Casio.
Here.
Councilman Cumming. Councilman DeSena.
Here.
I'm trying to get Desiree back up here again. I'm sorry.
Just 2 thumbs up. For
Councilman Morgan. Give me a thumbs. There you go. Council President Feeney.
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance is Township Administrator Tovo, Township Attorney Power, and Township Clerk Wachowski. Please note that the conference session will be opened and then adjourned to enter into closed session for approximately 20 minutes. Then reconvene and begin 2021 budget discussions. PSA for March 4th, 2021, COVID vaccination information. The New Jersey Department of Health Vaccine Call Center provides information on how to register for the vaccine, as well as how to schedule vaccination appointments as people become eligible. The number is 1-855-568-0545. The lines are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Vaccine locations. For current Bergen County locations, please visit our website for links and further information. Tax Department notice. 2020 senior freeze booklets are being mailed by the state between February 12th and March 5th. The tax office will not be able to complete your form in person since Town Hall remains closed to the public. We have a duplicate version of the form which we will complete and mail to you upon request. Please call the tax office at 201-666-8797 for more information. 2021 dog and cat license renewals. Please note as of March 1st, there is a $25 late fee per dog in addition to the renewal fee. Stigma-free and mental health. For mental health resources, please visit our website and click resource link for further information. New scammer tactics. PSE&G warns customers to be alert for requests for payments via digital payment apps. Public comment. We ask that callers please turn off or mute their television to reduce any feedback. Okay, I'm announcing that on Monday, March 15th, we will be, correct, Sue? Right? It'll be ready for this? Okay,
Yes.
Monday, March 15th, we will be, myself and the mayor will be presenting James Stickle with a commendation for his Eagle Scout achievement. So, and the plaque has already been ordered. It has all of the mayor and the council name on it, on the plaque itself. Okay, is everybody, any opinions, comments? Okay. Approval of minutes, May 27, 2020, budget meeting, June 3rd, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting, June 9th, 2020, special public meeting, June 15th, 2020, public meeting, conference meeting, June 29th, 2020, special public meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Desiree, just put your hand up so we know that you, did you get the call-in number, Desiree, or no?
Yeah, she's over here.
But it's not working.
No. Hold on a second. Desiree? Desiree? She's not looking. Talk, Desiree. Speak.
Hello?
There you go.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have a voice.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see how this goes tonight and then reevaluate too, just in case. The funny thing is now she has a little red microphone on her name. So I wonder if she unmutes her computer, if it's there now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, your computer's working.
No, it's the
Right,
phone.
shut that off. Shut the phone off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, take it out.
Can you turn the volume down, maybe? Let me see. I don't know if I do it on my end. Oh, Lordy B.
Oh God, you gotta be kidding me. So like when she called in, her computer worked, and then when she hung up the phone, oh, that's crazy.
All right, she's
Okay.
gonna have to she'll have to call in and we're just gonna have to allow her to talk and leave it
Yeah, all
there.
right, let her call in then. Okay, all right, that's great. Please call in. Sorry. The little red microphone's there now. It wasn't there before. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on to public comment, Desiree. So if you want to call in, go ahead. Okay. General public comment, limit to 5 minutes. Please note that Sue Wachowski is now keeping time of the 5 minutes. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. You'll be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. There is a 5-minute limit per caller. Sue, aren't they raising their hand?
No, nobody's raising their hand. Nobody wants to.
No. Right, okay. Please note that this is public comment, and comments by the council, mayor, administrator will be at the end of the public comment section. At the end, no more calls will be accepted.
All right,
Are we not
Desiree.
giving reports, Stacy?
That's next. Oh, you know what? We could do that first. I was going to do that next. You know what? Let's do that now, actually.
The agenda,
If nobody's raising their
Yes.
hand.
Yes.
Okay, so report of the mayor. I do have a statement from the mayor this evening that I was asked to read. On behalf of Mayor Peter Calamari, I would like to read the following statement. On February 20th, I tested positive for COVID-19. I am progressively improving and look forward to a full recovery. Although I am not able to attend tonight's council meeting, I continue to represent you and work for you as your mayor. I am on constant contact with the administration and staff. As always, the administrator and employees and council are accessible to you to answer and address any questions or concerns you may have. Please be sure to utilize our official website and Facebook page for information updates. Take care, be well, and stay safe.
Thank goodness.
So I hope he gets better soon. Okay, we'll move on to report of the council. I'm going to go first as council president. I said I'm looking forward to budget meetings, which are productive and collaborative, since I know we all have the same goal of moving township forward. Nothing matters if you're not strong enough to say it out loud, and I hope we all do so. during
Stace,
this- Yeah.
so I got a text from Michael Oman. He got knocked out of the Zoom somehow.
How could he
So-
have? He wasn't here.
Well, I guess he's trying to, well, at least that's what he's saying to me.
Sue's the one setting up the meeting,
okay.
so can you?
You've got to go on the website, tell him to go on the website and do a click on the link.
Go on the website and, okay, go on the website.
Yeah, because these same 4 people have been here. Nobody else has been on here.
Yeah, let him know that Sue's now running the Zoom portion of the meeting. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just start over again. Is that okay, Ken, or?
Go ahead. Go ahead, start, and I'll just,
Okay, so looking forward to budget meetings which are productive and collaborative, since I know we all have the same goal of moving township forward. Nothing matters if you're not strong enough to say it out loud. I'd also like to thank the staff members who've worked so hard this year to compile budget reports, along with the members of the administration and the mayor. I want to recognize all the hardworking department heads who've made special efforts over the last year to measure progress and set forth reasonable goals and information that we will use to establish the 2021 budget. Thanks to our new CFO for his dedicated efforts to assemble the budget, and we cannot thank you enough for everyone's hard work. Council Vice President Morgan?
Yeah, I don't have much of an update. I am looking forward to spending a lot of late nights with everyone for the budget meeting. I can't wait. But to be completely honest, I am sorry about that. I am sorry that about the mayor. I hope he is feeling better and back with us very, very shortly. So my thoughts are with him. And as far as the only update I really have is for cheerleading. I, like the rest of the cheer parents in town, I received an email today, unbeknownst to me, that anything final had happened with regard to the cheer program. I know last year was pretty quickly put together to just salvage some, resemblance of a cheer program. But I know that we were supposed to be in talks to make that a little more palatable to everybody so that it could be a truly cohesive program. So I think that email may have come as a shock to many. It did to me. So there will definitely be conversations with Westwood regarding formalizing, a cheer program that benefits both towns. So for anyone who is listening that wants to hear more about the cheer program, I'll have a better update after I have my conversation with Westwood. So probably by the next meeting.
Thank you, Vice President Morgan. Councilman Casio.
Yes, thank you. Really don't have much to say. I hope Peter gets well quick. All right. Anyone that has COVID, you know how devastating it can be, or at least test positive. You never know what's going to happen. So quarantining is obviously a good thing to do. In regards to the town, we had a lot of snow the last couple of weeks, and I really appreciate the DMF or DPW now going out and cleaning that up. But I was hoping they would do a little bit better job. It seemed that there was a lot of snow that was left on the side of the road where it was only passable in one lane for one car at a time. And I'm hoping there's no more snow this year. That's what I'm really hoping for. But next year that they can do a little bit better job going curb to curb. So that's my report for this evening. Thank you.
Councilman DeSena.
Thank you, Mrs. Feeney. I wish the mayor to hopefully gets better. Get well soon, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for putting the budget together. I was a little disheartened that it has an increase in it. In 2017, 18, and 19, we had a zero net increase to our taxpayers. I was hoping in a COVID time with everybody on hard times, we would have had a net neutral budget. I hope the council can work hard to reduce the budget that was presented to us to have a zero net impact to our residents. I think it's something we should strive for. And like Mrs. Morgan said, it's going to be a lot of late nights to get that done, but I hope everybody does what we need to do for our residents to give them a zero impact, because last year was a high impact and this year is an impact again, and we should do our best to make it zero. Thank you, everyone that participated in the budget preparation with the mayor, but we need to do better. Thank you, Mrs. Feeney.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the public comment section. To participate, limit 5 minutes. Sue Wachowski will be keeping time. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. You'll be asked to state your name and address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time. There is a 5-minute limit per caller. Please note that this is a public comment, and comments by the council, mayor, or administrator will be at the end of the public comment section. At the end, no more calls will be accepted. Okay, Stu, you're up.
Motion to open the public comment?
Yes, motion to open public comment portion.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, well, let's see, we have one hand up here, so let's see who's on this one hand. People are saying they're cut up, and I'm just wondering if they are me, who I've been removing, and I don't know why it's showing up that way. So that is something that I will work on and find out what to do. Okay. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We have this. Let's see who's in here. Come on, open up. Mr. Ullman, are you on here? There we go.
I got a Mr. Conti, if that helps.
All right, Mr. Conti, where are you showing up as?
I should show up as Anthony Conti.
And you're
I have
showing up
my-
as me, and that's why I've been, okay. Hold on.
Okay.
Desiree, can you still hear us?
That's why.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Conti, you're up.
Now he's Anthony
Okay.
Khan.
Yes.
Now, oh, there you go. I made the big time. No, I just want to wish the mayor well. Heard that he wasn't feeling well and that he came down with the COVID. It's a horrible, horrible thing. We're going through it with a friend of the family, and I hope he pulls through well. I really have nothing else other than that. Nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Conti. Have a good evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I got feedback. Who's got their,
Okay, just FYI, my hand is still up and I don't know how to take it off. I'm working on it. I don't know how to take it off.
okay, we'll get rid of you.
There you go. I got it. You don't get rid of me. I get rid of me.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You too. Mr. Ullman. You too. Mr. Ullman.
Yes, hello,
Hello?
Ms. Bukowski?
Yes?
Okay, just want to make sure. Yes, I had been booted out a couple of times, which is why I reached out to Mr. Powler, so,
That's okay. I think it's because you're showing up as me for some reason.
yes.
Okay.
So I'd just like to reiterate Mr. Conte's well wishes for the mayor. It's a terrible disease. Hopefully he comes through without any problems, and I wish him the best. I did have a question about the budget, if it was done from a top-down approach or is it on a run rate approach? And if it's on a run rate, do you plan on reviewing the details of the audit trail? Because there are so many items that are misclassified in this budget or in the audit trail that I think a run rate really is ineffective. There are council payroll being paid out of trophies and plaques. There's accounting software being paid out of IT services.
Mr. Ullman, do you have headsets that you could put on? Because I'm getting a terrible feedback from you.
I don't.
Okay, hold on.
Sue, I muted myself. I don't believe it was me.
I muted me.
So I was just saying that there are logo engravings and trophies in training, in admin. There are donations to Bethany Church in admin advertisements. It's just I don't understand how, one, these were recorded in that manner, and two, how you're building a budget off of that if it's incorrect. So I hope that you take a critical look at not only what's being presented, but what was there last year and how it was recorded in the books. The other thing is, I had raised the issue last week. Mr. Tovo said that it was not part of the repair, and that was the lights in front of Town Hall. And I guess, you know, I'm at a bit of a loss that this is the gateway into our town. Any contractor who goes to the building department, any person who comes to see people in Town Hall have to walk down that path. And these lights have been out for almost 3 years. They're askew, they're broken. So, you know, the story has changed from the administration and Mr. Tovo that there was a holdback on those contracts and they weren't paid and it was going to be fixed. And then it's not going to be fixed because it wasn't part of the contract. It was ripped up as part of the remediation. If it wasn't put back properly, it is the contractor's fault. And if we're not holding them to it, someone should still care enough to fix it. 3 years, you know, I'll send the council the pictures because I have them from when I sat on the council and asked this same question. So I think, you know, I think it's just complete BS that we have to walk in every day and pass that crap and no one feels it's worthwhile to fix. You know, it's the front door to our town and Mr. Tovo walks past it every day and I don't know what he's looking at, but he's not looking down because it looks like crap. And I think someone should fix it. And I hope someone takes this opportunity to ask Mr. Tovo why it hasn't been fixed. And that would be it for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ullman. Have a good evening. Is there anyone else on the line?
I'm going to unmute and see if there's someone else here as me. Is there anyone there?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please
Yeah,
state your name for the record?
Yes, this is Diane Ferrara at 743 Amherst Drive.
Good evening, Mrs. Farrar. How are you?
Fine, fine. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. What can we do for you this evening?
I just wanted to follow up also because some members of the public aren't familiar with, you know, the exchange. I sent you an email, which I assume you all received, about the question on the appraisal that was going to be done on the property at 50 Pascack. So the reason why I'm calling in is we have a couple of questions. I've spoken to real estate agents. One of them you're all familiar with is David Snide. And given the zoning on that property, which is a AA single family home, we would have assumed that a residential appraisal would be done. We did learn that thousands of dollars are being paid to someone to do an appraisal of that property. So we're wondering what we're getting for, I don't know whether it's $2,500 or $5,000. I don't know what we're getting, but normally I had to have an appraisal done on my home for estate purposes. And all the focus is on the home. We know what the lot is, and all the focus is on the quality of the home, the interior, the bathrooms, the fixtures, the kitchen. And that was done actually as a courtesy. I understand they usually cost a few $100s. So given our concerns that the property is appraised in line with its existing character, which is an AA zone for a half acre home, even though there's additional property in the back, we still have the constraints of a total of 75 feet in setbacks, 50 for the front yard, 25 for the rear yard. There's no way to put a street there. So we're very much concerned that the town isn't being bullied by the developer who put it up for $2.1 million. There's a lot of feedback here. I don't know if you can hear that.
Mrs. Farrar, I just had, you said that someone told you that the town is spending thousands of dollars on an appraisal. I was just writing my notes. I just wanted to clarify.
Yes, if you could, because there was an article in the Pascack Press last week that it said that $5,000 was being paid to McInerney for an appraisal.
By the town?
By the town, yes. So that's, the question I have, and that it was approved in a list of bills. And then there was some follow-up done by the reporter that said 2 of the bills were canceled, but now it's down to 2,500. And it wasn't done with a consent resolution. It wasn't on the meeting agenda, but it was on the list of bills. So we do have a question about that, because again, the focus being, this is just a residential lot with a home that very well may be condemned. But of course, our concern is that it isn't a subdivided lot. It has 700 trees on it. And the setbacks would make it impossible to really build homes there at all. So to be sure that the town isn't being pushed into a corner by a developer, we're just wondering what's going on there. And we also read that the developer himself is the one that entertained the appraisal on the property after the town requested that appraisal. So it was all in the Pascack Press's article last week. So we would like to get some clarification on that. And also assurances that these zoning laws will govern any appraisal, because that will have a singular impact on the appraisal that the town will entertain in terms of the possibility of gaining the property for town use, for the school, for the field, for the residents' open space. So we wondered if there was an update on that, and also if any grants are being pursued for green acres or open space that will help the town acquire that, and if our grant writer is actually looking into that at this time. So that would be it. So any insight you can provide on that, and why we're paying so much if it's really merely a residential appraisal, which certainly limits the scope of what could be done on that property. As Mr. Pollard mentioned at the last meeting, the appraisal would be done in view of the fact that it's an AA lot and that it has those lot constraints. So that would be it. So I look forward to some comments and some insight on that.
Thank you, Mrs. Farrar. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you. And just so anybody knows, Sue, I had to unmute myself, which is unusual. On the Zoom calls that we have with the zoning board, the moderator unmutes us. So while she was waiting for input, I thought, all right, well, let me try to unmute myself. So I unmuted myself, and that's how I got to join.
Well, I have multiple frames up here that I don't know why they're showing up. So thank you, Mrs. Farrar. I appreciate that.
Yes. So if other people do want to join and they're not being heard, there's an unmute option at the bottom. That's what I used. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you. Is there anyone else out there that would like to speak? Okay.
Hello?
Motion to close public. Oh, is anybody else there?
No, hold on, Stacy.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Who are you?
Hi, my name is Anthony Udina. I'm at 876 Ridgewood Boulevard East.
Yes, Mr. Udina. What can we do for you?
Hi, good evening. First, I hope the mayor has a speedy recovery. Second, I would just like to echo Mrs. Ferrara's concern about 450 Pascack, and just wondering if there's any update on that, the appraisal, and anything in general regarding that property. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope you all have a good evening.
Thanks, Mr. Udina. Have a good evening. Anyone else out there would like to make a comment?
Let's see if we have somebody over here.
I think that's...
I'm sorry, I just have one other. Some people I know are calling in. I tried calling in first to the phone number, so I don't know if that's also being monitored, because I know a couple of people are going to call in.
Yeah, I don't see anybody on here with the phone call.
Okay, all right, very good.
Or at least nobody's raising their hand for anything. I don't,
Okay, I think we, all right, I think we have to move on.
Hold on, Stacy, there's one more here. I just want to see who this one more is. Hello? Is there anyone here? No? Okay. And then there's one more up here. I think we're done.
Motion to close public comment. I'll make a motion. Second, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mike, you're on mute, just FYI.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Aye. That's okay. Okay. So in regards to some comments, Mr. Ullman, we'll have to look into whether it was run rate or top down for the budget. And then I think once we get into the budget, a lot of those questions will be answered. I think we have to get into the budget to answer your questions. So I'm sure you'll be watching the budget meetings. Regarding 450 Pascack, Ms. Ferrara, unfortunately, we are not able to comment on that right now unless Mr. Pollard has any comments regarding that.
Well, I just want to clarify a couple of things that were said. The appraisal, getting an appraisal for a home that you're buying is a little bit different than getting an appraisal for a piece of property that might be acquired by way of condemnation. As I said before, the zoning does apply, but that does not limit the way you do your appraisal, okay? And maybe somebody gets an appraisal for a one-family home for $250 or $350, but this is not what that is. However, getting an appraisal doesn't bully us in any way. It doesn't force us to look at the property as a development property. As I said before, and I'll say it again, the property is looked at as it is. In other words, the zoning is taken into account, the layout of the property in terms of steep slopes or other constraints, that gets taken into account. There are various things that get taken into account. What does not get taken into account is the theoretical use of the property. So just because the appraiser is doing whatever he's doing to give us our appraisal, it's not resulting in the town being bullied or forced or compelled or any other thing to use the property for anything in particular or pay more than the property is worth. Okay. As far as the price is concerned, the price was not $5,000; it was $2,500. The appraiser is an MAI. He's a very experienced appraiser and is used mostly by most of the municipalities in the area. He's an expert witness, very well thought of, and we want to be prepared. So we're not looking to spend, spend nothing and then wind up with an expert who's not really an expert. Because if there's going to be a dispute about this, we want to be prepared. I don't know. I think I've answered pretty much all the questions. I know that people, read articles and things are read in the newspapers and things of that nature, but, the appraisal will be coming. It should be coming, soon. Oh, I know. I was trying to think of the last question. I think you said something about, Mrs. Ferrari, you said something about the owner was what'd you say, allowing the appraisal? She said something about being involved with the appraisal somehow?
Yes. Yeah, she was asked, right. Yes,
Right.
she was.
And the reason for that is that by law, you're required for the appraiser to notify the homeowner that they're going to do an appraisal. It also, and they're allowed to be there during the inspection of the property. And if the appraiser wants to get inside the property, obviously the owner has to let you inside the property. And I understand that is arranged. I understand that the appraisal is going to be taken care of shortly. I think that answers pretty much all the questions. Anybody have any other questions? Can you have any recollection of anything else that was questioned about that? I think that was basically all the questions.
That's what I have. Does anybody have anything different?
Okay.
So I've received a couple of messages from some of the residents that called in. They've all now been disconnected from Zoom and they're telling me this format is not working. So I'm very sorry, Mrs. Ferrara, that you got disconnected from the Zoom meeting. So
I didn't disconnect her either.
I don't know. I'm just letting you know the messages I received.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
growing pains in the beginning here. I don't know why.
I'm
it's
sorry.
the way it is.
Desiree, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, are we still answering questions or are we done with that piece? Because I wanted to ask a question.
No, I asked Mr. Power about 450, so if you would like to go next, that's perfectly.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, when Mr. Ullman had asked the question about the contract, the lighting, what 3 years of disrepair, if Mr. Tovo could just tell me why it hasn't been repaired? Or tell us why it hasn't been repaired?
My prior comment regarding that project is that when I arrived here in October of 2018, it was titled Town Hall Lighting Project. But as we dove into the bid spec that was prepared before I was here, there was actually no lighting contained in that agreement. It was for drainage repairs to the police department, which involved some concrete work and some seal coating of walls. And that's just recently been completed, and now that we're finally seeing some thaw out, we can now look to replace the lights separately from that contract with the prior vendor.
Mr. Tovo, in order to clear this up for all the members of the council, could you provide a copy of the bid spec so that we can all see what was included in that original spec?
I can.
That'd be great. Okay, thank you.
So we also need you to check on, so I just got 2 more messages. Several people who called in never got to speak. They could hear us, but they couldn't get on to speak. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not loving this at all.
Well, let me tell you something. For the meetings I've been doing for the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, I have not had this issue. So something I need to find out what's going on. Is there someone here to speak?
No, they're not on now. They're not there. Okay. Councilman Cassia, do you have any comments regarding the public portion?
No, I think 450 has been addressed with the appraisal. To Mr. Ullman's point regarding the misclassification, we're going to have to look into that. That's something that's a recurring problem with our budgets. It has been for the last couple of years. So again, we will try and classify it in the right spot, make sure we're taking the money out of the spot where it's allocated for and not taking it out wherever we need it, because that's not how a budget should be. And I think Mr. Udin's question about 450 Pascack was also previously answered. So we'll look into those things. And that's all.
Thank you, Councilman DeSena.
Thank you, Mrs. Feeney. To Mr. Ullman's point, I have a lot of tabs. There are a lot of misclassified items throughout the entire previous budget year cycle. We need to address in order to get the actual rates of actual cost of what should have been spent in those line items, because there's a lot of inaccurate information in there right now. To Mr. Udina and Mrs. Ferraro, just to, 450 is on the minds of the council. Mr. Poller has ordered the appraisal. This is why it's important that we, put our due diligence in and hopefully get the right report back and we can move forward. That's all I have, Mrs. Feeney. Daisy, you're muted.
So sorry. Mr. Tovo or Mr. Power, do you have any comments you'd like to add?
No, not for me.
Okay.
No, I have nothing further.
I hope I answered all the questions, that's all.
Okay. I do have just some follow-up comments to the prior meeting regarding the tree removal permit application. Sue, would you mind? I know we already have a landscape plan, correct?
Yes.
In place. So there already is a landscape plan that is in place as part of planning and zoning, correct? And
part of the code, yes. And it has now been adding on to the checklist.
Right. And I would like to, Mr. Poller, if you could pull some tree removal permit applications, or we'd like to start talking about that and looking at the rules around that in town. That'd be okay?
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to start adding that to the agenda and having that discussion. I think it's a valid point that Mr. Sears brings up. That's all for that. No ordinance, adoption, second reading, none, introduction, first reading, none. I'm sorry, introduction, first reading. Ordinance number 21-02, an ordinance amending the list of bills which can be paid under section 7-61 of the Code of the Township. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 21-02 at first reading by title. I'll make a motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
Sue, roll call. Do we want to have discussion?
No, you don't normally have it on introduction.
Okay, just thought we got ahead of it. Okay.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Resolution number 21-156, authorizing publication of ordinance number 21-02 and schedule a public hearing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. The following items have been determined to have unanimous consent of council and will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone want to have any of the below items removed from consent agenda? I wanted to have the bill list removed. Okay. Nobody?
I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right, then.
Are you pulling to discuss a particular thing with the bills or just pull a whole thing?
No, I was pulling to discuss, but you know what? I can actually just email Mr. Chobo. It's a really minor item. It's not, we can just move forward then.
So you're not going to remove 157, Stacy?
No, because we need to get
Okay.
to the budget. So, okay. Resolution number 21-157, authorized payment of bills February 11, 2021 through February 24, 2021. Resolution number 21-158, authorized refund of engineering escrow monies B4316 L7 373 Calvin Street, not to exceed $417. Resolution number 21-159, supporting participation in the Sustainable Jersey Municipal Certification Program. Motion to approve consent agenda resolutions. I'll make a motion. I need a second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjournment to conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okey dokey. Just hold on, I'm missing my purple sheet. Oh, here it is. Pretty Lenten purple. Okay. So the only item is a rec update from Councilwoman Morgan and myself, and she already gave the cheer update. Desiree, do you want to add anything else to that or no?
No, I just want to reiterate that there's further discussion. So to be on the lookout for that. That's all.
And Councilwoman Morgan and I plan to meet with Director Scuderi to see what his plans are for rec and see if we can assist in any way. And that was really the update. We'll have a further update after we meet with him. Okay, so we are going to go into closed session. Resolution number 21-160, litigation, Washington Town Center. Motion to enter into closed session. We will be coming back from closed session to go into budget. So motion to enter into closed session. May I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Second.
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 All in favor?
Stacy,
Aye.
Stacy,
Yeah, sorry.
you may also, in addition to going into budget, you may also be taking action afterwards too.
Okay. Okay,
Well, that's what, yeah,
okay.
all right. So, Mr. Ullman, goodbye.
Ricky, do you need to come down or you're just gonna shut us off or? Okay, we're back. Okay, thank you. Okay, motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 21-161, an ordinance amending use regulations in the Class C district within the Township of Washington at first reading by title.
So
May I have a
moved.
Second.
second? Sue?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes, thank you. That's it for that, correct?
No, and now you have to do authorizing publication.
Okay. Authorizing, sorry, same resolution number, Sue, 161?
Yes.
Okay. Authorizing publication of ordinance number 21-161 and schedule a public hearing. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, 2021 budget discussion. Does anybody need a 2-minute break?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna take a 2-minute break.
And I'm not staying around for the budget, right? Yes?
I don't have to stay
Right.
around. I'm okay with that. Everybody else okay with that?
Fine.
Okay. Good night, all.
Good night,
Good
Mr.
night.
Pollard.
Take care.
All right. Take care.
Good night, Ken.
Good night.
Okay.
What page are we starting on, Stacy?
Hold on, just wait, I'm just getting that. Hold on.
Oh.
I'm running out of room on my desk, so I'm trying to turn the book the other way.
Do you want to discuss what days you want to meet? and
Yeah,
what
let's do
time?
that first. So right now we have Mondays and
Are we
Thursdays.
back in public or are we still close? Are we still off?
No, we're back in public.
We're being
So-
broadcast.
Right now we have Mondays and Thursdays. I had heard from 2 people. Is everybody back? I can't see everybody. I know Desiree is
Yeah.
having technical
Where is
problems.
Steve?
I'm here.
Your video's
All
off.
right,
There you go.
There you go.
I'm
Okay.
here too. I'm here.
All right, so we have Mondays and Thursdays. Right now, we're supposed to have a meeting on Saturday. I had previously heard from 2 council members that were unable to make Saturday. Is this Saturday still not good for everybody, or,
I'd like to keep the Saturdays open.
so that means you don't want to meet on Saturday?
Rather just do it during the week. Yes.
Well,
I'm good for Monday and Thursday, but we got to start at 7. That's the only problem I have.
Okay, start at 7.
7. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm good for
we'll
either.
see- We will see how far we get the next 3 weeks with the budget, but there may be, after that, Saturday meetings required so that we can complete the budget on time. So, because that was communicated in December.
I'm good for all.
Okay.
All right, so
So-
you want to do Mondays and Thursdays, preferably not Saturdays. We're going to do it for at least 3 weeks, beginning at 7 PM. And then
Yes.
reevaluate, correct?
Yes. Then
Okay.
Monday, this coming Monday, Mr. Tovo's gonna reach out to the police department to see about Monday, if they could join us. And then Thursday will be fire. If not, we'll move them if they're not available, or switch them, whatever, however works for them. And then there will be a published schedule of what we're gonna be covering each night.
Thank you.
I've also requested Mr. Tovo to submit to the council the job descriptions of the township employees in correspondence with the budget. And we're gonna be sending the sheet out that identifies the title to the, with the corresponding job title that's sent from Mr. Tovo.
Horrible with my phone.
So why don't we start with, okay, so just FYI, the rings have gone through the page numbers on my binder, so
I think the same on everybody, Stacy.
Just FYI.
Oy.
So can we start with page 5 after salaries, and we could start with office supplies and go from there? I would skip the mayor's section since he's ill this evening. Is that fine with everybody?
You're gonna start with council office supplies?
Yeah, council office supplies. Is that good for everybody?
It works for me.
Okay, good. Okay. So the budget last year was $160. They're asking for the same this year. I'm good with it. Anybody have a problem?
Fine.
Good.
Okay, subscriptions and books, $100.
Fine.
Good.
Okay, dues, meetings, and conferences.
Fine.
2,800 was spent. 2,800 was budgeted last year. 1,800 was spent, I believe, due to COVID. So we'll see what happens this year. Is everybody good with 2,800?
Yes.
No, not really, because if you look in the last years, 17, 17, 18, and now we're up 1,000 more. Never exceeded 1,800.
I think, but leaving it at 2,800 in case there are conferences this year would be prudent.
Well, we didn't spend it the year before that, not the year before that, or the following year. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We never went above 1,800.
So let's put this to a vote. I'm good. I'm proposing the 2,800. Sue, can we have a vote, please?
Let me make my note. Okay, for 2,800, Councilman Casio,
No,
Councilman DeSena,
No.
Vice President Morgan,
No.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to make it $1,900.
second.
I'll second.
So it's minus 900 from what was asked and recommended.
I'll second that motion.
No, Desiree did.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
All right, so 900 less, it's $1,900.
Okay, nothing for professional services. Furniture and equipment, $1,000.
I'd like to make a motion to make that zero.
Well, they're asking for, the admin's asking for 500, down from 1,000.
I'd like to make it zero. I don't think we need any furniture or equipment this
Well,
year.
Sue, do you have any plans for this?
That's not me.
So who is this
Unless you
from?
guys, that's for you guys. If there's something like, I would like the council chairs, but we have that here. That's the kind of things that council would be
Are
purchasing.
we going to need anything if we come back from COVID, partitions or plexiglass? I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, we definitely will.
Yeah,
we
but
just-
that should come from the state fund, the
A grant.
FEMA fund, the grant.
Right.
But we
So
still have to pay for it, then apply for the grant, right?
Right, and hope we get it.
Right, so we still have to pay for it.
Yeah,
All
Mr.
the,
Togo,
All the COVID material is being paid for out of the OEM line, because that's where
There
that
you go.
money is being reimbursed to.
Okay, so I'd like to stick with my motion of making this line item zero, please.
Second it.
Yeah.
all right. Let me see, Michael DeSena, zero, Councilman Casio, second. Okay, Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
All right, so it's going to zero. Okay. All right, and then we're going to page 6. This is nothing on consulting, non-legal, and printing.
Okay, council miscellaneous, 300. At 190 last year.
I'm okay with it.
Fine.
Desiree,
Okay, yep.
Stacy,
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right, so $300 there.
Hold on one second. Okay.
Stacey, did you find the audit trailer webpage that's on? I was just curious what we spent $190 on.
That's what I was looking for. Hold on one second.
I was doing the same thing. I couldn't find it for some reason.
120.
No, I think that it's probably just a single line, so it's not there totally.
202011.
What were you looking for, Mike? Which one?
What we spent $190 on in 2020. That's what I was just trying to find it.
111,500.
Oh.
What page?
Oh, I have it. It's here. So it's
Yeah, what page is that, Stacy? 13?
yeah, it's 13 and it's hold on, that's 500.
We
It
spent
was
it on
like
flowers.
it was dues and things like that, but we should be putting that in like dues and subscriptions. Annual dues, Koran.
Well, no, it
Hours
was
on 13, it looks like.
Yeah,
Flowers,
flowers. It was
13.
for flowers. Yeah.
It was flowers. I don't know why
That's-
Desiree was in there. That makes no sense what that is. Oh, Desiree, that was when Desiree was going to that class.
No,
That's what that was for.
when I was going to the class, wasn't that for,
Remember when you did that class? Was it,
oh, that's it. Yeah.
the budget elected official one, right?
The GIF. No, the GIF class I did.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. That should
Yeah. I
What's the
don't know why
next,
that
what's
was
the
part
next
there.
line that we're looking at? The next line under there.
well, we're just wrapping up the $190. We haven't moved to the next line yet.
No, okay.
I have no idea why.
Yeah, but the $190 is flowers.
Yeah.
Right.
When was that for? Wasn't that the funeral?
It was yes, the people are on there. If you want to look, I don't want to say the names out loud.
Right, right.
Okay, all right. I'm good with that then. Okay, I mean, it's unplanned thing. Trophies and plaques, 600. I'm good with that.
I have an issue with this line in the audit trail. We're paying payroll out of that.
Where?
If you
Right
look
at
at the
the bottom of
bottom,
13.
Next line.
right at the bottom, we paid
In the audit.
payroll 11/30/2020 and expenditure reference 13/29/184.
Wait, are you on page what
The
page are you
very
on?
bottom. Bottom of
13,
it, Stacy,
last
very
line,
bottom.
Mrs. Feeny.
Mr. Tovo?
Very likely that was a budget transfer to cover a line that was short, but I'm not gonna know until I check with the CFO.
So we don't know where that came from?
Thinks it was a budget transfer.
Can we skip this one until we get that information, Stacy?
Yeah, I mean, let's just leave it and then we
Yep.
can get back to us on what it was, yeah. Mr. Tovo, is there a log of budget transfers that we can have so that when these questions come up, we can get to it ahead of time?
Just, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
they're all recorded in the respective resolutions, so we can pull that and check it.
Okay,
Can you transfer it out from one purpose to another?
When you're doing end of the year transfers, you can.
I don't recall this transfer, Mr. Tova. All right, if you can document when this transfer was made, I appreciate
I
it.
don't recall either, but let me check.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tovo, just as a budget question in general, the lighting issues that are addressed today in tonight's council meeting, are those part of the budget for this year?
They're not a capital expense. They don't meet the criteria for that, but I do have our DPW getting us pricing to replace the lights.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you're gonna get back to us on 111,790. Oh, just so you know, I know we talked about this previously. We're gonna keep it to under 2 hours. So the meetings are productive and nobody's getting exceptionally tired or adding to their stress level. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, so Sue, since you're here, let's go to your section.
I didn't bring any of my stuff. No,
Oh,
but
do
it's
you wanna
okay.
go-
I'm fine.
do you
No,
wanna-
I'm fine. No, no.
Do you want to
We're
get
good.
it?
No. If I
Okay,
have
so
I'll get back to you if there is something that I don't know.
Okay, so we're going to skip the salaries for right this second.
Okay, so we'll go to page,
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm looking at page, I guess, was it 7? I don't have anything.
Yes.
Yeah, 7.
Expenses. Again, this is tough. I don't know. I mean, I cut it down from 19 to 15.
Wait, which one are you on?
Office supplies.
Office supplies, okay. I mean, I'm good with 15. You spent 19 last year, but are you gonna be you spent 19 last year, are you gonna be looking for additional monies later this year?
I hope not. I don't
So,
plan on it.
but if you spent 19, what was the extra 500 compared to the other years?
I don't know, Stacy. You know what? I don't have my notes, and that one I can get back to you on that if you want. I don't know.
Okay, let's skip this one, fine. Okay, so
Sorry.
subscriptions and books, $100. I'm good.
Yeah, that's.
Okay,
Everybody
anybody have a
okay with
problem with that?
No.
Okay, dues, meetings and conferences, 2,000.
Where you going, Sue?
It depends on what opens. Actually, my spring conference is in 2 weeks, and it's virtual. It was $125. It was a great deal.
Okay.
So
So
can we
you got-
So
lower
I'm gonna make a motion to reduce this to 1,500.
I agree. I'll second it.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Sue, whenever you're ready.
Yep, just making my notes.
Okay.
Okay, Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
and Council President Feeney.
Yes. Okay, equipment repair. This is part of the share payment for OBS software, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm good with the 380. Is what it is. But it says 475 from the prior year. Was that because of the upgrades?
no, it was the way that the budget was split up between the departments.
Okay, so 380 is gonna be suffice?
Yeah, it's like 370, 378, 70, 33 or something like that. It's an odd number.
Okay. Anybody have an issue with that?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, mileage stipend, 600.
You doing a lot of driving there?
I'm always driving back and forth to meetings.
I know. I got you. You're good.
Okay, copier fees, I think that's fine. Same with them
Yep.
last year. Advertisements, public notice.
This I increased because what happened at the end of the year last year, we did those zoning ordinances for COA, and I had to do all of that extra advertising, and it ended up getting very close to the budget.
So do you
So
think you're gonna
therefore,
have a similar
I-
issue this year, or since we
Ken-
passed COA?
No, but Ken and I both said that we've got to do like this stuff that we're doing this week is zoning. You never know what's going to pop up. So I would rather please leave it there. Hopefully there'll be money left over at the end of the year that could be transferred into something else if need be. But you never know with this. It depends on what you guys come up with ordinances.
Okay, I'm good with the 4 then, based on you and Mr. Pollard's recommendation. Does anyone have an issue?
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Leave it for now.
I'll try not to spend it, but it's up to you guys what you do.
well,
You know what
We're
I
not
mean.
going to write any more ordinances. We're done.
Okay.
That's it.
township clerk training, I'm good with the 1,500. Okay.
Fine.
All right, code publication, so we were at 6,400 last year, we're at 10. Is there any way we could bring this maybe to 8,000?
Well, the thing with this is that last year, remember when we talked about the budget, I did basically, I think it was almost a year and a half to bring us just up to where it would be a January to December instead of like an August through a December. This is, again, the 1195 is the annual cost that I do for the online where they keep it updated. That's our annual fee that we pay, our maintenance fee. So out of that, you've got it down to about 8 and change. Again, it
So you
depends on what we
spent
do.
64 last year, and
Right.
47 the prior year, but you
Right.
think 10 still required or maybe 9,000?
We could try 9,000 if you want. It just,
All right,
again, it
let's do
depends on
9.
what we do with
Can we,
ordinances through the course of the
Stacy,
year.
can we look at the audit trail? Because there was salaries paid out of this line again.
Well, okay, but I would like to make a motion though for 9,000 after we look at the audit trail on here.
I'd like to maybe discuss even lower states because it doesn't support, the history of it doesn't support 10,000 this year.
Correct. There's
No,
salaries.
but the thing that Sue's saying is that she's not sure what we're gonna do. That's why I only did 1,000.
Yeah, if you introduce any new ordinances and it goes up to general code and then it gets codified. And then what happens is the supplements come out that those of you who have a book, you get the supplements. It's updated online. Everything is all pulled together.
How often do we have to update it? Is it annually or as soon as the code comes out? As soon
No,
as
it's
it comes out?
basically, I think I have it quarterly or biannual. I think it's quarterly. I asked them for it.
So so since
It's the code.
2018? What?
Go ahead.
Since 2018 though, I mean, weren't there things being updated and consistently
Yes.
being updated?
Yes, constantly. When 2018, we recodified. That's why 2019 was down because everything was pretty much brought up to speed. However, when
But
we
even
got-
2018.
I'm sorry, Desiree. I'm still stuck on training. Training has payroll in it.
Councilman DeSena, please let them finish their discussion about what they're saying.
And if you look at hold on, let me get this so I'm talking to you. Let me take the page out. If you look, the code supplements cost anywhere from $1,000 to $2,700. It depends on what is actually adopted, what needs to be codified, what changes need to be done in the code book. See, there's different amounts there. The 1195, that's been pretty stable for the last few years. But it's the other ones that, again, they update the codes whenever you have, do an ordinance, it gets sent up, it gets put into the code book. The code books are up. In fact, even the books themselves, I've cut down to only 12 copies. And I think we have only like 2 or 3 left over. Other people have taken it, like the attorney. I've had some council people. Ken has a hard copy.
So under the 460, code supplement number 4, code supplement number 4, supplement number 5, and E-code
Right.
360 annual maintenance.
Right.
So
We could try 9. I mean, if you don't mind just cutting 1,000 off, I mean, I would rather not cut it too close because then if we get to the end of the year and we have something else come up with COA or something else like that, then I've got to scramble for money. And I don't have my notes to see if there's anything specific, but basically it's based on what you people do as a council.
Desiree, what do you think?
$8.5.
Huh?
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm okay with 9.
I think 9 would get us by. Remember, looks like we got some padding in this department total, this control number. So
That's why I was thinking 8.5 too, because we do have some where we could pull from. I guess 500 is, whatever.
Right, 500 is 500.
Yeah, if you think.
So I made a motion for 9. Let's see where it goes.
I'll second your motion for 9, Mrs. Feeney.
Okay.
Councilman Casio,
yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
No.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Feeney, can we go back to to the item before and have Mr. Tovo provide us some guidance of why we paid payroll out of 370 for training?
Sure. Can you provide, it says adjust PO. So the first one is adjust PO number, blah, 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 for Corcoran. And then the next one is 2020 Cork extra meeting.
Payroll.
Mike, what page is that on?
21.
21.
Okay.
21, right? 00120
It's half, Desiree, it's towards the
I see it.
second section under the top of the page.
I see it. 326.80.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what that is, but let me verify before I answer.
Okay. So can we go back and not have that one completed and get more information, please?
Could we actually leave it, and if we have to change it, we could go back after Mr. Tovo, because if there's no reason to go back after the information's provided?
No, that's what I'm saying, yeah, like, but as long as we go back, that's all, Stace, that's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but if there's no reason to go back, we don't have to.
So wait, just so I'm clear, 750 is coming out of there for the meeting?
Payroll.
Payroll for her meeting, right?
Payroll.
Okay,
But it's a training line item, so it's, it's
Right, but it could be a transfer from, that's what we
Okay.
have to get from Mr. Tovo. When we do those resolutions with the transfers,
yep. Yeah, well, he's checking on that, so let me just leave a note myself.
actually, if he could give us both, because the first one's an adjustment to PO.
yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, printing. So,
I have no idea.
so tell me what you mean. Tell me what you mean by you have no idea.
I'm saying from 275 to 1,000. I have to go back to my notes. I don't know why I put that in.
For the 275,
Yeah.
you mean?
I can't tell you why it's $1,000. I have no idea. So I'm sorry.
So-
I have to get back to you on that one.
Would you be comfortable making, I mean, there's a big discrepancy, 316, 559, 1437, 275. If we made it 500?
I mean, yeah, and if I find something different, can I come back to you at another meeting?
Can we find out why we reclassed all these expenditures to that line item? You look at page 21.
Right,
all the
that's why I
expenses-
said 500.
Yeah, all the expenses are reclassified by the CFO, and I'm just curious why we reclassed them all.
But most of them are, that's 460, right?
470, Mr.
470. Yeah, that's like, it says Rico.
Yeah, there was
Copy.
a
It's
problem
all-
with the way this was,
I mean, the last
Okay.
one is the acrylic, the one that's actually the 275 is
is the acrylic hangers.
hang tags.
Right.
I mean, I'd be good with 500, for now, and then if he wants to come back, what do you
But
guys
this
think?
might, wait a minute, hold on one second. Let me just see.
Didn't we decide to put all the copy stuff in one item somewhere,
Yes.
one department? And then this way it would
Mm.
solve all those problems where you have a copier here, you're paying for copiers over there, a copier in this department. We all put them in one area.
But I
Right.
think here
And
it
it
was, if you look at the accounting
I-
aspect, it
I
was all
understand.
classed.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that was not me,
That's
but
what the mode that we had last time, the first, about 2 or 3 years ago. We were gonna solve that issue. Now we're kind of back where we are.
Can
Well,
you,
when you-
Mr. Corcoran, look into that to see why maybe it didn't happen? Because I do see that Mr. Corcoran did reclass all of these items, so it probably was a correction on his part.
What is the date of the reclass that you're saying?
So we're on actually page 21 at the bottom, Mr. Tovo, and you could see basically over pretty much the entire year, the reclasses for that, up until September 15th.
you know why I think that might have been? I don't know, Bob, you know what that might have been is because it was being posted because it should have been under the copier.
Yeah, this issue is ongoing. We discussed it last year during the budget as well. Certainly is identified as one of our bigger issues, the proper classification of all of our bills. And as I explained last year, and I'll explain again, what often happens is you check for the name of the vendor, and if that vendor was charged to a certain line,
Yep.
that same pattern was repeated.
Yep.
It's obviously what needs to stop. It's the CFO's top priority to make sure that occurs. But when we get to the point where we discuss staffing again, I will reiterate my request from last year that we need additional staff there as quality control to make sure this stops.
So, and these were obviously, Mr. Tovo, from the process, they were caught and reclassed to the appropriate account.
Correct. We've been doing that not all year long, but since the CFO got here, we've been doing that. But it needs to be corrected before it ever gets to him. They're classed properly to begin with. And that was the intent last year. It's the intent this year. But only one person in office, it's virtually impossible.
But Mr.
Besides
Tomo,
law firm.
don't we have a system of checks and balances when these things are entered that multiple people are signing off on these entries, aren't they?
But this is the GL posting. This is not that there's a lot of information wrong. This is a GL posting that was corrected. It's not like it was paid to, it's making it seem like it's a huge major, when it comes to accounting, even in big business, there are items that are reclassed. Even when there are millions of dollars in checks and
Not
balances.
disagreeing with that, but don't we have a system, before these things are entered, there's signatures on all these documents. So it's seeing multiple eyes and it's still needing to be reclassed. That's all I'm
And the
saying.
GL, and I'm agreeing with you, but the GL was still wrong, but it was caught and it was reclassed to the appropriate account. So that's not, it wasn't great that it was in the wrong account, but it is a good thing that it was caught.
Yeah, but Mr. Tovo's comment is that he needs additional staff to do this. That's what I'm commenting on, is that, we have staff that's looking at it, and Mr. Corcoran is having to catch it and do all the reclass. But, like you said, Mr. Tovo, it shouldn't get to Mr. Corcoran that he has to reclass it.
So
And
then maybe Mr. Tovo needs to provide a little more information on in which aspect he needs the staff. Is it when the PO is created, when the account is set up, when the payment? If you could get us that recommendation, then we could help you get the right
I
staff.
can do that. I can do that right now. The issue is we have multiple departments and multiple personnel submitting requisitions for processing to one person. So when that person looks at the number, if it's a number, within that department, they don't have time to look any deeper to see if it's the exact line item that it should be. That's where that quality control would come in and correct those small mistakes. So that's what my concern is, and that's why these reclasses need to be done. But to my earlier point, it's got to be corrected before it gets to the CFO level.
And if I'm not mistaken, Bob, this was one of the things that I had said, I don't know, last year, it was being, my RICO bills were being processed by, and still are being processed by somebody else, but we did create that copier fee line at 120,300 because this stuff was being put, my overages were getting put onto the printing and some of the bills, and that's not where it should have been. It should have been there for the tags if there was something else that had to be printed. And why 1,000? I'm sorry, I don't have my paperwork, but there's a reason why I put it in there, but that's why the reclass is in there as well.
So ultimately, the director of finance should look over the reclass and sign off on it, right?
Okay.
So is the director of finance doing that, or is it our auditor or our CFO?
I am aware of all the reclasses done by our CFO. My point is we have to prevent the need for so many reclasses by catching it earlier.
Our stuff's up there too.
I guess what internal controls do we have, Mr. Tovo, to prevent this?
That's what he's saying. He's saying that the way it's being presented to one person, that maybe there's a better way to handle this, that the departments are putting it where it's supposed to go.
And this is something we've discussed at great length with all the department heads. Don't just look to where the vendor was paid from prior. Look at what work is being done or what project is being done and classify it appropriately. So take the extra step to make sure it's going to the right line. And if that's done more often, then we're going to eliminate a lot of these reclasses or quite frankly, misallocated payments. We don't want to do this.
So maybe in order to prevent some of these issues, I don't know, maybe the CFO and the purchasing team, they can put together a training internally for the department heads and the people who are submitting the POs, and maybe giving them some documents to use as reference sheets for where these items should be going.
Quite frankly, it's not even a matter of training at this point. It's just simply a matter of tying the kind of work being done to the appropriate line and just skip that entire step where you're looking to see where you paid the vendor from before, because I know that's what was done in the past to make it easy, but it's not making it easier, it's making it more difficult.
So it's
I agree with what Bob said. Yeah. Once it's put in one line, that's where everybody keeps going with it instead of actually looking. I usually look at my budget and try to make sure it's right. That's why without my papers, I don't know here, but I agree with what Bob is saying.
Okay, so back to the printing line. So $275 was spent on that hang tag, correct? Which actually probably
Right.
belongs there. So if we did
Right.
500 compared
Yeah,
to,
this-
because
Well,
we've
this
got this,
printing, I'm thinking this printing is probably also my minute books that I order and the minute paper that goes with it, and that usually runs, I don't know. I haven't ordered 2021 yet. Can't think what they run usually over. Can I get back to you on this one? I mean,
sure.
you want to say 500, and then if I come back with the justifying any more money, would that be okay?
What does everybody else think?
Or do you want to leave it open and I just get back to you with what my notes say and why I put $1,000 in here?
Well, what does everybody think about the 1,000? I said, let's make it 500. What does everybody think?
I'm okay with making it 500. I'll second your motion.
I'm okay also.
Steve, you're okay, on mute. Okay, so let's have a vote, since we're all agreement in 500, Sue, we'll leave it, we'll do 500, and then if you come back, we'll say we could revisit it.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes,
Thank you.
okay, and I'm good with the 150 for miscellaneous.
Fine.
Okay. I'm actually going to make a recommendation that we wait to get those, the reclass information from Mr. Tovo and have the next meeting on Monday, and we'll have the schedule out.
So this mean you want to stop?
Well, I guess we could go through elections because that's your area too, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, so let's do elections.
this is pretty simple. It's the salary and that doesn't change.
So elections, S&W,
Right.
let's skip that. We're going to do salaries and wages.
That's. The
Okay.
election ballots, this is the election ballots. This is what gets mailed out. It's the mail-in ballots, the sample ballots, it's the postage. It's a moving target from year to year, depending on, like you see, it goes from 8,000 down to 7,000. I needed $3,000 a year before.
Will this,
But
will this
if we leave
increase
it at-
because if we have mail-ins? We
Yes,
Continue to have mail-ins, will that be our burden or will it be the burden on the county? How does that work?
well, we have to pay for our printing.
Okay, so this last one, we only had the presidential election, right?
Right.
Okay, so this
And
might be a
school
little
board.
bit different. This might be a little bit different this time.
Could be, well, you still have the same amount of voters.
It's not the number of candidates on the form, it's the
Not
people
that
that the
voters,
ballots go to.
voters.
I understand that, but you're talking, if there's a special, if they're requiring other things, you haven't heard anything at
No,
all
I have not heard.
regarding that?
No.
Okay,
And there's only certain times of the year they could do that, and they can't do it now. The next one, I believe, is in September, and then another one in
Gotcha.
December.
perfect, thank you.
I'm okay with leaving it at 10,000 because that's the benchmark we've been leaving it at. And, we do have it is an election year, so we're definitely
Okay.
going to have an expense.
Yeah, I'm good with the 10.
Okay.
Councilman Casio? Okay.
Good.
Councilman
Desiree?
Moore?
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, miscellaneous is 1,000. It's been that for the last, we only spent 250, but we spent 500 the prior year. What about
This was-
500?
That's the food
Make
for
that
the poll
500.
workers.
I'm sorry, you both were speaking at the same
Fine.
time. I'm sorry. Sue, what did you say?
This is the food for the poll workers.
So
So
do you ever
depending-
spend more than 500, or if we make, why don't we make it 600?
Yeah, that's fine. We just started doing this. That's why it's no real history. So yeah, 600 I think would be fine.
I make a motion for 600. Does anybody,
Fine.
I'm good with
I'll
600.
second.
Fine,
can we actually name this? Can we name this food for poll workers? So like we don't have, we know, or a parenthesis or something?
Well, it could be, the supplies would take, I don't use a lot of supplies for elections, but there are on occasion I have to pick up, but it could be less than $100 a year.
Okay, all
So
right.
if
So
you
just
don't mind me
leave it at
charging
that.
it there, yeah.
Okay, so, okay.
All right, so everyone's in favor. We have Councilman Casio,
yeah, I'm good.
Councilman DeSena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Morgan,
Yes.
Council President Feeney.
Yes.
Okay, thank
Sue,
you.
can you repeat again what you said? What else you use it for throughout the year every now and then?
Miscellaneous, if there's any election supplies I have to get, like there are like these huge envelopes I have to order, if there's pens I have to order, disposable pens or anything like that, it's miscellaneous little things. It's less than $100.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And that's where I would take it from.
All right.
Because when we buy for election, it stays with election. We don't use it for anything else.
So we said 600 on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that's a good start. I think we should reconvene on Monday. And I will email the plan out to everybody prior. So if anybody has a conflict with the date and we need to move something, if you could let me know within a reasonable amount of time of when you get the schedule, please. And I am going to add the Saturdays after 3 weeks just in case, but I'm not going to attach an agenda. What'll happen is the Monday will just move back to the Saturday, but we'll catch up on that. So hopefully we can make good progress and stay on track.
Just so you all know, that chart that I gave you that showed the council meetings that we had listed and the court meetings, the court meeting for March 18th, Stacy, was canceled. So that opens up now.
Okay, good.
Okay? Totally opens.
Okay. That's a Thursday, right?
Yes.
Ms. Finney, can I add one thing?
Yeah, of course, Mr. Tovo.
Our CFO is currently recouping from a minor procedure, so I'm hoping he's back Monday, but he may not be.
Okay.
So that information might be delayed a day or two, but as soon as he's available, you will have it.
Okay, but I do, if the council agrees, and Mr. Tovo, you agree, if we do police or fire Monday and Thursday, we should be okay with those areas in case he's not back.
Will he be
As long as
attending the
it-
budget meetings in the future once he's okay, Mr. Toba?
We haven't requested that.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Will the CFO be joining our budget meetings like the prior CFOs?
I have no knowledge that any CFO other than the last CFO attended budget meetings. As a matter of fact, I don't believe they did.
No,
Yeah,
they have.
Yes, we did.
Yes, they did.
they sure did.
I will check his availability.
Thank you, Mr. Toba.
Yeah, I'd like him to be there. That would make life easier. We could ask some of the right questions. And yeah, in the past, they were there. I forget her name.
So, and also, if you guys go through the audit trail, there's questions you have prior to the next meeting or when we're going to discuss it. If you could email it ahead of time so that Mr. Tovo can be prepared with the CFO for the meeting. If you've already looked, we can get the documentation pulled. It would help to speed along the budget process.
Okay. No problem.
And if you could let me know which ones you're requesting so I can make sure they get followed up on.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, is everybody good with that plan?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Sue?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm right. I'm with you.
Okay, Mr. Tovo?
Yes, works for me.
Okay, good.
Yep, well, that's good.
Okay, all right, guys. Motion to adjourn budget meeting.
So moved.
Move. Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Be good.
Good
Good night,
night.
everyone. Be safe.
Good night.
Night.